r/AskReddit by Reddit and chill. Lawyers of Reddit. What is the dumbest thing your client has ever done? Attorney servant of process. This is Jen from Judge Grumpyface's office. Your client, who I see is charged with harassing phone calls, left us 87 messages over the weekend. The judge would like a word with you. You see, Your Honor, I couldn't be the one harassing my ex because I spent my weekend harassing you. Open and shut case. Johnson. Now sprinkle some crack on him and let's get out of here. She has a restraining order on you. You absolutely cannot contact her anymore. They moved in together. Would it affect the validity of a restraining order when the person who took out the restraining order does something that runs directly counter to the idea that they took out said restraining order? Depends. If it's an order the girlfriend asked for, that's a possibility. But if it's a no contact order entered by the judge as part of a domestic behandled case, then absolutely not. Both of them could get in trouble. No touching. Judge was determining if a defendant qualified for a public defender. Judge: Sir, do you have any income? Defendant: Yes, Your Honor. Judge: From what source do you have income? Defendant: Selling marijuana, Your Honor. Edit: This happened in Illinois, and the defendant was not under oath. When I was sitting for appointments one time, a defendant said, hustling is his source of income. Added. Everyone in the courtroom laughed a little, even the judge. More. Holy shit. Thank you to whoever bought me Reddit Gold. Prosecutor: And what is your occupation? Omar: Occupation? Prosecutor: What exactly do you do for a living? Mr. Little? Omar: I rip and run. Prosecutor: Hut. Omar Little: I robs drug dealers. Levy: You are Arno. Are you not? You are feeding off the violence and the despair of the drug trade. You are stealing from those who themselves are stealing the lifeblood from our city. You are a parasite who leeches off the culture of drugs. Omar, interrupting: Just like you, man. Levy: Excuse me? Omar: I got the shotgun. You got the briefcase. It's all in the game though, right? The judge shrugs as if acquiescing to his argument. My dad was a lawyer in the Navy. One of his first big cases was defending a guy accused of falling asleep at his post during Vietnam. My dad was all psyched, delivering what he thought was well-prepared defense to the judge. The judge interrupted him, telling him to turn around and wake up his client. Your Honor, the defense apparently rests. Guy might have had some type of disorder. I was about to say, he might have narcolepsy. As someone who is not a lawyer, I would have said, see, Your Honor, he does this all the time, not just during war. My all-time favorite is a client I had who was charged with driving under the influence, DUI, who wanted to challenge the charges on the grounds he didn't think he was drunk and the tests was administered improperly, who appeared at his court hearings rip-roaring drunk, twice, and then, both times, he got into his car and tried to drive away, and both times, the police promptly stopped him, administered a breathalyzer and charged him with DUI and related offenses. We didn't win that case. If you had won, I'd hire you for anything. Edit. Uxall. Edit 2. Apparently I have a lot of catch up for Breaking Bad, S1 Ep 2 and beyond. I was in court contesting a traffic ticket and saw something like this. The guy was in court for a DUI and was 7 sheets to the wind. He was taken out in shackles, fell over twice, cashed in their retirement while in bankruptcy. When it is cash, it is not protected. Could you explain this a little more? Are you saying their creditors were able to seize their retirement money to pay debts, but wouldn't have been able to do so had they not cashed it in? Qualified retirement accounts are exempt from bankruptcy under federal law, but there is a cap of $1,245,475 for IRAs and Roth IRAs. Your state laws may vary, of course. If you liquidate those accounts and put it into a checking account, or some other non-qualified account, it's not exempt and your creditors can get it. If you want to read more about what you can keep during a bankruptcy, this is a decent list of common exemptions. Ouch. Told a client, don't say anything to the police. Wait until I get there. Confesses to a crime he wasn't being investigated for. That was relayed to me by the RP manager. Individual stores didn't have RP managers. They existed at the district level of the office supply chain I worked for in high school. A young man, let's call him Eric, had been with the company for almost a year. He worked in office supplies and was, by this time, known to management to have light fingers. At some point the store manager called young Eric into his office to discuss his continued employment with the company. When Eric entered the room there was a strange man who was introduced as the RP manager for the district. The conversation from the RP manager was very short, hoping to elicit a confession to the pens they knew he had stolen. "Eric, we know what's been going on. If you tell us all about it we'll promise not to press charges against you." Eric just about crapped himself and proceeded to spill all the details. February distant manager was bringing in additional software, packing it in empty boxes of printer paper and selling the printer paper to his friends and somehow writing off the software as stolen or returned. Eric's job was to fetch the boxes from the back when the friends came to pick them up. Had a client show up to a child custody hearing high on methamphetamine. When she arrived, she began screaming at the judge and demanding that her no good meth head baby daddy be drug tested. I took her in the hallway and told her that if the judge ordered a drug test for the dad, he would have to order one for her. End of argument. So who got the kids? The Grim Reaper. Probably. Edit. My highest rated post ever. Everyone, you should all be ashamed. Damn, you dark. Not a lawyer here, still in law school, but behind a sting lawyers with cases. One day, we got involved in a caretaking debate for an old woman. Her daughter and an attorney were declared legal guardians for her, due to dementia and her high age. Her niece got us involved questioning the motives of the daughter as an indignant legal guardian. Long story short, her motives were definitely questionable. She stole $10,000s and even her mom's vacuum cleaner and silver cutlery, which resulted in the poor woman eating with her fingers, and the case seemed to be a piece of cake for us. Then the niece, our client, took the old lady away to a senior citizen home to guarantee she was taken care well of. Her intentions were gold. Unfortunately, daughter and attorney were still legal guardians and had the right to determine the place of residence. In the end, our client was charged with kidnapping and we lost the case. Moral of the story: don't ever do anything case related before talking to your lawyer. Seriously, don't. Edit. For clarification, I'm a financial advisor and it never ceases to surprise me how often this stuff happens. One child has power and takes advantage of it to the fullest extent possible. Other kids, all adults mind you, find out that the shitty sibling no one likes has been taking advantage of their elderly parent for years and it just rips families apart. Money has the ability to make people do awful and stupid things. Edit. Thank you for the gold. I wish it could have been given toward a comment of happier proportions. I'm watching it happen with my wife's family. Fortunately the one with power is a lawyer and a really good, honest guy. The other siblings however, that's awful. Not my client, but I was on the prosecutor's side when a defendant failed to appear for court. His attorney can't reach him. Nobody know where he is, so we all sit there for about half an hour, until the judge gets sick of it and moves on with the docket. We found out later that day that the defendant decided to rob a 7/11 the night before and was sitting in jail 2 counties over when he should have been in court. Well, he did need money to pay his lawyer. At least he has documented evidence for why he couldn't make it. Accidentally admitted to the crime in his direct examination. Fassapum. How do you accidentally admit to a crime? Sir, did you murder that woman? Yes, I did. Wait, no. He didn't outright confess to the crime. He admitted to doing certain acts that make up the elements of the crime. Brain. Don't say yes, don't say yes, don't say yes. Mouth. Yes. Brain. While driving, he saw a woman wearing only a bra. Distracted, he crashed his car. He sued the woman, and we were about to win the case before he decided to make the woman try on the bra to prove that it was hers. The woman was wearing a leotard at the time, and so the bra didn't fit. I mean, of course a bra's not going to fit on over a leotard. A bra's got to fit right up against a person's skin, like a glove. Seems like folks are missing the joke. Oh well, it's a pity that they had to acquit. I don't think they missed it. I just think the joke had lost its appeal. I hate it when my client takes his caddy's advice over mine. Why are you paying me? Damn you. Stan the caddy. My ex-wife's lawyers, yes, plural, would be perfect for answering this thread. She hasn't followed a court order yet. In fact, I'm on my way to court now because she still isn't following the court's orders. Edit. I can't put any details until the hearing is done. I will update in a few hours. Edit number 2. Here's one I can say. Lying to her attorneys. They certainly did not enjoy being embarrassed in court when I showed proof of what she had done after she swore up and down it wasn't true. Edit number 3. Speaking of edit number 2. Her attorney just found out about the website where she bashes all the judges who have heard our cases in the past. Needless to say, her attorney had no idea about it and is upset about it. On the flip side, I have borrowed over $100,000 now to keep my same attorney. I probably will never be able to afford a college education for my child or maybe even able to afford having any future children because I am not sure I will ever be able to pay these attorneys' fees off. Especially considering it is still going on and I am racking up fees faster than I can pay them. Read your history. Holy yuck. Good luck, man. Fortunately, I was not the attorney in question. But, guy is convicted of some traffic related offense, loses his driver's license effective immediately, gets in the car and drives home, along with his lawyer. I remember watching a short little blurb about the number of people that drive to the DMV to get their expired licenses renewed, and even the ones who go, fail the test, then drive home. I did that once, not my license, but my plates. My birthday is close to a big holiday and I just forgot. I drove for several months and got pulled over. My plates were about 5 months expired. I could tell the officer was expecting me to tell him a big tale and try to talk my way out of it. I told him the truth and was honest with him. Just hey man, no excuses. I just forgot. You got me dead to rights. He was cool. Still wrote me a ticket. A minimal one for not wearing my seatbelt. I did drive the car to the DMV though. I was super worried that I'd get pulled over by the same cop on the way there. I am not a lawyer, but this worked out super well for me. I was hit by the 65-year-old drunk lady, who also happened to be on methadone at the time. The cops knew her husband, who was a firefighter, and so they didn't breathalyze or do any tests, and didn't charge her with DUI. My EMTs had said that lady is so drunk, she's going to buy you a ticket to Disney World, which is how I knew that she was drunk at the time of the accident. But I had no proof to bring to the table in the lawsuit because if the cops didn't charge or make notes then you cannot add it later. So we get to my deposition and she shows up. She argues with me the entire time over my points and her lawyer keeps having to tell her that she needs to be quiet. Mind you, this lady had ruined my friends and my lives. So I was becoming less than patient with her calling me a liar when she got off scot-free. She exclaims to my lawyer, even the police report is wrong. What do you mean it's wrong? It has me coming from the wrong place. Where were you coming from? My friend's bar. Really? Did you have any drinks at this bar? Well yeah. How many? I don't know. They don't charge me, they just keep refilling my class. Edit. Okay guys, I get it. It's not scotch free. Jeez. Haha. I got your domestic violence charges dismissed. Goes home after hearing and beats up wife. Yep, the DA should have pushed for counseling and probation. That was everybody's bad there. So I'm a law student, but I work at a volunteer desk that helps people complete the forms for court. The awful part is I can't give any legal advice since I'm not a lawyer, which means I can't tell these people they don't have a case. However, the stories are great. They're the lady who sues celebrities. She asked me to help her sue Robert De Niro. Someone else helped her with a suit for Matthew McConaughey. She was doing it on behalf of her kids and their fathers for an excess of $100 million. She didn't even know how to spell their names. Then, there's the guy who is suing DirecTV, CNN, Fox, and who knows who else. Apparently, he's the one you have to THNK for putting color on your TV shows and adding animation. He was suing because they hadn't paid him, ever. Finally, there's the lady who is suing her former employer for giving her too much money on her last paycheck. She told me they did it because they liked her and wanted her to come back. There was maybe $60 extra on the check. She was suing for $10,000. People sometimes. What was the reason for the women to sue celebrities? Because celebrities have money. Never, ever sue poor people. There is a sizable number of sad people out there who think they can just sue their way into money. They read about some crazy case in the news all the time and say, hey, it worked for that person, it should work for me. What they fail to understand is that those crazy cases are either a dumb luck like winning the lottery and the decision often gets overturned on appeal, or B, there are some really strange nuances that made the lawsuit legitimate. Only those don't get accurately portrayed in the news. It's quite difficult to successfully sue somebody without a very strong case, especially somebody with money, who is going to be able to afford a better lawyer than you. My law teacher would tell stories about a juvenile court he used to work in one of the more questionable areas of California. Apparently they had a real problem with defendants coming in with sagging pants and court officials showing up in beach clothes. The judge finally got so fed up with it that he kept a box of rope for an impromptu belt and a box of neckties behind his desk, and he'd begin court proceedings by lobbing ample amounts of both over his stand at anyone he felt was in need of them. The cops in my preliminary hearing showed up in camo shorts and beaters. I was wearing suit and tie. I know of a judge who will hold you in contempt for showing up dressed inappropriately. Also, he hates, and by hates I mean hates, cell phones ringing during his proceedings. If your cell phone rings, you are immediately held in contempt and the bailiff immediately handcuffs you and takes you to jail. The South. I worked for the public defender's office and met a client in jail for a lineup that he had adamantly demanded regarding a crime with multiple witnesses. I met the client for the first time in a separate room to let him know how it would go down and what to expect. This is the kind of lineup you traditionally see on television, where there are a number of similar looking people standing shoulder to shoulder in front of mirrored glass. They pull the people for the lineup from the jail population, and despite their best efforts, this is not a huge population. I walk in to meet the client and he has a sty on his left lower eyelid the size of a golf ball. It was the most identifiable mark on a human's face I have ever seen. He still demanded the lineup and was identified instantly by every single witness without a shred of doubt in their mind. He still demanded a trial and the sty was gone by the time the trial commenced. Too long didn't read. Guy with golf ball sized lump on face demands comparative lineup. I had one of these. Defendant robbed his friends at gunpoint in their home wearing a Halloween mask he had shown them the day before and wearing a short sleeved shirt that displayed his distinctive sleeve of tattoos. Fassapum. Friends. I don't remember that episode. Not a lawyer but a legal secretary. It's illegal to kill crocodiles in Australia, so our client filmed himself and his friends doing it. Funnily enough, they got caught. Going to be kind of hard to disprove a video that clearly shows the animal being killed and subsequent celebration. Plus photos with the carcass. What an idiot. Another guy robbed the pub he worked for, stole the work ute, drove to the city, went straight to the casino, parked the work car in the lot, lost $10,000 playing blackjack, then bought $2.500 hookers and was entertaining them when the cops arrested him. Classic. There are probably others, but I've been doing this for 10 years, so they've all blurred together. People are dumb. So does Bender still work at that pub? I work as a legal aid lawyer in a Canadian province. I have had many dumb clients who did many dumb things. Wore a smoke weed every day t-shirt while attending their drug trafficking producing trial. Attempted to smuggle cigarettes to their inmate partner via their baby's diaper. Intentionally pooped their pants on the way to court to delay their matter. Denied driving under the influence. Upon search by police, a full highball glass of rum and coke was located in their jacket pocket. Raped a girl. Sent her text messages from his phone the next day recalling all the sordid details. I have many more stories that I could tell if there was sufficient interest. The ones I mentioned here all happened in the past couple of months. More stories. Another good one. Doing a trial for client in a circuit court about an hour outside of the city I operate in. Client decides to get a cab out there and tells the driver they'll pay them when they arrive. Client arrives in this community and gets the driver to stop at local convenience store across the street from the courthouse. Client proceeds to attempt to steal 5 26-ounce bottles of rum and is promptly arrested and taken into custody. Trial is postponed as we spend the day, unsuccessfully, applying for bail. Was the rum and coke guy named Julian? Talk to the cops. People, the police are not your friends. They won't make things easier for you. Can't tell you how many cases could have worked out better for the client if they just shut their mouth. I live in Sydney, Australia. New legislation has just been enacted that if you don't talk to the cops, unfavorable inferences can be drawn by the jury from this refusal admission if you later rely on facts that you didn't admit to when first questioned. Sometimes you should talk to the cops. Okay, never talk to the cops if you're in the USA. Story from a friend of mine. He was defending a guy in court. Don't remember what he was charged with. The main witness for prosecution was on the stand and was asked if she could identify the defendant. She was scanning the courtroom and seemed confused. My friend was already silently celebrating because if she couldn't identify him, he could probably get all charge dropped. As he was mentally adding this case to the win file, he happened to glance over at his client, who had just helpfully raised his hand to make it easier for her to identify him. Even the judge palmed on that one. I'm not a lawyer, but the optometrist that I went to had an officer manager that was marking on people's accounts that they got refund checks and crediting the balance, then cashing them herself. She took $50,000 in a year and got caught. When asked why she did it, she said, "No one told me I couldn't." Airtight argument. Ducking like and subscribe.